Hey guys, this is Slifer Maniac and I'm gonna dropping today my Strings Battle City deck profile. Now, what can I say about this character? This character obviously was one of Merrick's servants who did not himself exist as an own independent personality. He was like a puppet. He really did sleep all the time and was just awakened in the very moment that Merrick summoned him to challenge Yugi for a duel. So as a result of that character has no flaws, which we cannot talk about except for being like an I don't know, call it in English, I think, marionette player, or pantomime, pantomime. And like I said, Merrick inherited this person due to his Millennium Stick. And yeah, that's all about his person. Now I can say about his main strategy from his deck was outlined solely on the Slifer the Sky Dragon, or to summon Slifer the Sky Dragon. And Slifer the Sky Dragon is one of the 3 Egypt cards which are in this saga, or as well as in general, one of the best monster cards that exist. And it does have his weaknesses, like you have to draw cards to increase its strength, especially its attack stats. And further on, his other monster cards are mainly Aqua type monsters, and his strategy is of course to, on the one hand, to draw as many cards as he can, though it is limited. The card one player can hold in his hands during the duel is limited to 6 cards. There are special cards which you can increase that number to eternity, like one specific magic card which I will talk about later, spell card. And of course there are cards like in spell card as well, which his main strategy and tactics are based on, that he can always, if he special summons a monster, draw 1 card, and the anime effect was to draw 3 cards, which was basically very overpowered at this rate. So he had this Aqua type monsters, and in particular one monster, Revival Gem, which always had the ability to special summon itself while being destroyed from the graveyard. And then that monster card in combination with the card that I just talked about, spell card, which can with which you can always draw another card in the TCG, but in the anime effect was to draw 3 cards. He always increased the strength of Slifer Sky Dragon. There was another spell card which he used, which creates tokens, that I will also talk about later. As a matter of fact, that was also meant to be one of the main sources to then tribute summon Slifer Sky Dragon or other strong monsters. So onto his monster cards. Like I already mentioned, Slifer the Sky Dragon at start. Now, Slifer the Sky Dragon, as I already mentioned earlier, is one of the 3 Egyptian god cards. You might say it's the weakest from the 3 because it has its flaws. You have to gain cards to increase its strength, draw cards to increase its strength, and if you lose cards, it will be weakened. Then it of course has another effect, like if you summon a monster, it does of course decrease the opponent's monster's attack stats to 2000, and if it's then lowered to 0, then it is destroyed. But in the anime, that was one of his main weaknesses, the very reason behind the fact that the pharaoh Atem did lose his duel in the last arc against his opponent Yugi, which was of course the very duel which decided the fate of the pharaoh soul, who could be then trapped if he wins, but if he loses, it gets the possibility to rest in peace and go to his own dimension and time. Back again, and like I said, Slifer has many weaknesses, or not many, but 2 weaknesses. If you not have a deck which is really mainly outlined for a specific strength and capabilities. So then, of course, I have Reactive Slime, which did not exist as a specific enemy card, but now we have it in the TCG, and it's a mix of course, the tokens of the spell card which are produced. So they have gave that spell card token, outlined the spell card token as a monster, so we have it as a monster, and it does fit in the strategy as well as in the deck in general. Then 2 times Kings of the Swamp. Now I will represent some fusion monsters as well, which we have in the deck. And King of the Swamps has the skill to fusion summon a fusion monster, and also it is a water type and aqua monster, which this deck is, as I already revealed, very aqua overweight, so to say. Then, of course, Beast King of the Swamps. Now, Beast King of the Swamps has a very similar effect to King of the Swamps, except I think you can not fusion summon a fusion monster, but substitute a fusion material monster for this card, and then you can maybe fusion summon. Fusion summon then a monster after that, if you have polymerization, for example. But this King of the Swamps, in comparison to that, also has the ability to get 1 polymerization card from your deck to your hand. So it's of course the better choice. Then Raged Muka Muka, which has the very same effect as Slifer. It does gain more attack stats, increases his attack strength for every card which you have in your hand, plus 400 per card. So it also fits in the strategy. Then Muka Muka, which is of course Rage Muka Muka is the developed form of this card. Muka Muka is the effect is similar to a Rage Muka Muka, but I think it's just its attack stats grow with 300 points and the opposite to 400 in the Raged Muka Muka. So Raged Muka Muka, of course, is in developed form. Then we go further. I do have Clock Cat. Now, this card is not a water card, water or aqua type card, but you can use it for the strategy of special summoning one of their monsters from your hand. And also, if you banish this monster, you can set one spell card from your deck, if I'm correct. Then, and as I already told you guys, Revival Gem, that's the very card which the main strategy is based on. And yeah, this is a very card that always, if destroyed by battle, comes back, but you have to, I think, pay 1,000 life points every time. It wasn't that way in the anime, because it's a little bit of expensive, I think. But I have some cards, spell cards, especially, which will compensate that weakness of this card in the TCG. Now, further on, I have Lunatide Metal Parasite. Now, that's also an aqua and water type monster, which also is a union card, so you can combine it with one of your monster cards and increase its strength. Then, and one card which Merrick had, Yami Merrick, at least the bad villain, had this card in his deck, which is also a water type monster, and you can create, I think, water type tokens with it too. I think, yes. Then Magical Reflect Slime, which also if you recall it right, also the Revival Gem on the slime here, reactor slime cards tell you, or you can guess it from them, fits in that main strategy and monster cards, which we also have. And it's of course an aqua type as well as an attribute, it's water. And then Cruel Slime 2 times, and Morphing Slime also 2 times, which are normal monsters but are slime monsters, so yeah, it's also really might not come in handy, but yeah, it fits in that very archetype. And then these are not all cards which he did not use, but he played out the Revival Gem cards and of course Slifer. Then furthermore, he had this specific card. I put it 3 times in there. Worm Drake, and Humanoid or Human Slime 3 times. And in combination with those two, he also had a fusion monster, which is called Humanoid Drake Worm, which I also, of course, have 3 times. 2200 attack and 2000 defense. And an attribute is Aqua, and it's a water type monster, so yeah. It does. It is very similar to, or it is the same cards which Merrick used, or better to say, Strings used. Now, I'm gonna go on. And these were his monster cards. And then I will talk now about his spell cards. And as I said briefly before, it was based around the these three main cards: Gem Breeding Machine, Card of the Safe Return, in unlimited cards. Now, with this magic card, he tried to enforce the effect that Slifer can increase its strength unlimitedly, since you can the card limit is has been broke free. It was 6 cards. Now you can have so much cards in your hand, either player, of course, limitless amount of cards in his hand. Then the cards of the Safe Return, as I already mentioned in the anime, it's overpowered. You can always, if a special summon has taken place, 1 card from the graveyard, 3 cards from the deck, and like the artwork already shows. And in TCG, in the real card game, it's just 1 card, which sucks, to be honest. If it would be at least 2 cards you can draw, it would might come in handy. And Gem Breeding Machine is made thus so far to, of course, special summon the slime tokens, and then eventually summon then Slifer the Sky Dragon with it. But at a highly cost, because you always have to, I think, to pay 500. No, not that. Okay, I was wrong about that. I have to redeem myself. Now, he deliberately always based his card strategy about this 3 spell cards, and I put also spell cards in there which supported, of course, this main strategy 2 times in there. And Card of the Safe Return also 2 times. And then, as you have to wait for the strategy to conquer your enemy step by step, you can also use Dark Door, then which enables your slows down your opponent in terms of attacks. You can just, he or she is able to attack once per turn with the monster. And Vengeful Bog Spirit, a monster which is special, normal, or flip summoned, or otherwise ways, I think. Yeah, special, normal, or flip summoned. Cannot attack in the very turn that has taken place in the first round. He cannot attack. So yeah, it's a strategy to slow down your opponent, of course. And then, in which slows down a little bit more, is Messenger of Peace, because monsters with 1,500 attack or less cannot attack. But it costs for just 100 life points per standby phase, so it's might come in handy, and it's not that expensive of a life point price which you have to pay for it. Then another spell card which he had is Nightmare Steel Cage, which also stalls the enemy because he cannot attack for 2 rounds in general. It's a little bit from the effect and efficiency like sort of Revealing Light, except the difference is it's just not for 2. It's just for 2 rounds instead of 3. Then also another spell card which slows it down is a Day Full of Peace. The opponent cannot attack for 1 round. Also goes in that stall defensive tactic, which might come in handy in this deck. And then, of course, a couple of cards which support this strategy to special summon monsters. Premature Burial, Exaggeration Burial, Wonderful Rebirth, Monster Reborn, Nostalgia Reminiscence, and then two possibilities to fusion summon his other possibilities to fusion summon his fusion monster. 2 times polymerization. And another card to support his strategy to special summon monsters. Every special summoned monster gains 300 attack and defense, or just 300 attack. 300 attack, and it's a permanent magic card, a spell card. So yeah, every monster which you possess get that effect. Then I also put in Thunder Force Attack in that very deck, which is a specific Slifer support card, but I'm not sure how it does work. I'm just reading it out for you guys. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. If you control a monster whose original name is Slifer the Sky Dragon, destroy as many face-up monsters your opponent controls as possible. Then, if you activate this card during the main phase, you can apply the following effect. Draw cards equal to the number of monsters destroyed by this effect and send to your opponent's graveyard. Also, you can only attack with one monster this turn. You can only activate one Thunder Force attack per turn. Well, this of course might also come in handy, so yeah, it does fit in this deck. Then I put one Staple Raigeki in this deck to destroy the opponent's monster, and one creature swap. You can change the monsters of your monsters in the monster that which your opponent possesses. Yeah, but I have to choose a normal monster which you have in this deck very regularly. Then an Equip Your Drugmod spell card, which if equipped with a monster, the monster cannot attack anymore, and the monster is destroyed in the second phase after this card's activation, and simultaneously this card does not come into the graveyard, but instead into your hand. So this card is very good as well. Now this onto his spell cards. And he does have a couple of trap cards which were also in the anime. Like, just a second, sorry. One of his trap cards, for example, which was also a permanent trap card, like the 3 or 4 magic spell cards which were permanent, is Slime Defense. I put it 2 times in there, which he had in the anime, obviously. And Metallic Reflect Slime. This is a trap card, for example, which also is permanent, but yeah, you special summon the monster with 3000 defense and 0 attack and defense position. Yeah, and this card also stays, or also is still a trap card. So yeah, it might also fit into this defensive tactics of this deck. Then I also put in there another Slifer trap card, which is called Ultimate Divine Beast, and yeah, you can draw cards. I think if an opponent's monster declares attack, and you can discard one spell trap card, then target one Divine Beast monster in your graveyard, you can special summon it in defense position, then change the attack to target to it. And during the end phase, if you control the Divine Beast monster, you can destroy all face-up cards Your opponent controls that activated the effects onto the field this turn. You can only use effect or ultimate. Okay, yeah, so that's the effect. And of course also have Token Stampede, which protects all your tokens that you create, for example with the Jam Breeding Machine. And they also gain 1000 attack and cannot be destroyed by battle, so also that might come in handy two times, of course. And then another three trap cards to support the special summons line of strategy is Back to the Front, Birthright, and of course Call of the Haunted, which all have the ability to special summon monster or monsters, as well as Torrential Tribute, which destroys if a monster is summoned all monsters on the field, and Solomon Wishes, which every time you draw cards you gain 500 life points. So guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, this character deck profile of Strings. Hit the like and subscribe button and stay tuned for more content, which will be coming very soon. And as I already mentioned, I will now gather all decks from the Servants of Marek, and then I will probably come to the opponents of Joey Wheeler, and yeah, if you're finished with that, I think we'll have all Battle City decks almost done. Then I will be coming to the Cyber Virtual Saga. Yeah, hope you guys, like I said, enjoyed, and I wish you good night. Bye.